Oh. Yeah. I know I took longer than that, what I said. But I did make some interesting progress. So, fuck you all, I guess. I don't know. Just setting this up. Setting that up. That's good, that's good. Up. Alright! Wow, that was loud. Okay, everybody. Okay, yeah. Tick, 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 tick. I'm gonna post it in 3 minutes. Ba-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba. Bum 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 ba-da-ba-ba. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Meow. Ba-da-da-da-da-do-do-do. Meow. Da 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 da. Ba to ba su ba ba da ba da bu ga ba ba you bu ga da 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 da. Okay. All right. Oh man. I have to do math in my head really quick. I don't actually. Okay. Pretty weird. I understand. Oh. Happy birthday. Thank you. I appreciate that. As of a minute ago. IO map. What is it? Why would it care? I don't... Is it because of this? Oh, wait. Hold on. I must be executing at... I kind of fucked that up, actually. That one's my bad. Also, I'm pretty sure if I look at ACPI CA really quick, it does something close. What? I think I have to set it to dispatch before I do anything, right? Yeah, it is a IRQLC. Oh, you know what? That's actually really bad, because if that's called from an ISR, I can't allocate memory there. Why? Why is that called from an ISR? Read registered, fixed events, ensure registered map. Okay, I see. That does make some sense. Yeah. Okay. It's not super clear that that's happening. But okay. I'll accept it. That's fine. What I am doing this is a little silly anyway. So the reason I do it like this is because I wanted to create a structure that would handle allocation. So that way I could pass in, you know, the stuff needed to do an unmap. But I can see that that ended up... that doesn't... there is some weirdness there about doing it like this. It probably is not a good idea anyway. It was probably inherently a flawed design. So I think I can just locally... I think I can just initialize this on the stack and then pass it through. As long as what is happening here isn't... No, that would be impossible, actually. I would have to have it be the same thread that made the allocation. And I don't think it's going to be. I need to track these allocations somehow by... There is a way to do this, officially. A look-aside list. So I think hold on. Oh, I think that I can allocate from a look-aside list without it being at the dispatch level. Because I need to allocate memory from an ISR. Or I can just defer it to a DPC. Let me see how the old driver did this. I see. The problem is, I'm pretty sure I can't just use... I'm pretty sure the unmap will happen in a different thread than the mapping. Will it? Yeah. Hold on. Wait. Oh, this is wrong. Like, super wrong. Wow, that is really not correct. There's no reason for us to do this. This was working, but it was just doing extra bullshit it didn't need to do, actually. Yeah, because this is only I/O space. Meaning none of this is actually needed anymore. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. This is just I/O space, isn't it? You split it up like that on purpose. But then I don't really... I know. Oh, hi. It's been a long time. I haven't seen you in a while. Well, I haven't even streamed that much in a while. That's more on me than anything. Yeah, I don't think so. Why was this working? Actually. Like, this is the same. Unless it's only using like that for... No, it's that. What am I missing? What actually is... Nothing yet. I'm just fixing a bug really quick before I begin what our goal is for the day. And our goal's pretty simple. Well, first... Oh, this is for PCI. What the fuck? Wait. Huh? Huh? What? Right, that's not a virtual address, though. What? I'm sorry, I'm kind of losing my shit right now. That's so weird. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna happen still, but then what does this need to be set to? I guess a reference of the transient address for the handle. I'm so confused what this is actually trying to do now. What was I doing? Why did I do this? Why did this work? I'm using WinDebug. What the fuck? Okay. You know what? I don't care. Actually. Anyway, moving on. What are we doing today? So, ignoring whatever that was, oh shit, I fucked up. My code. What did I do? Hang on, let me look at something really quick. I did something dumb. Okay, anyway, just give me a second. What the fuck am I, okay. Moving on a little bit, so we have a driver here that does exactly what ACPI did before. So this is the UACPI driver now, booting with AMD 64 systematic multiprocessing support. So you can see here it's assigning an IRQ to what? Hold on. Let me just make sure I'm not an idiot. Wait, what was that? When has that ever worked? I don't know why that's working now. Okay. Let me make sure I'm not stupid. Hold on. Hey, Mark. Oh no, you're so right though. Oh boy. All right. So. Nope, that is still doing something weird. Hold on. Hold on. Create PDO for every device. Why is it doing that? Why is it behaving odd? People. I love people. Okay, that's cool. I think I don't think I did anything wrong here. Unless I'm missing something. Does it just do it? What, it was working like an hour ago. Love that. Love that a lot. Audio. No. Not quite there, dear. I don't know. I have to go get my laptop now. Awesome. Awesome. That's fine. We'll see. Hold on. We'll get to the bottom of this. Because I don't even remember what I fixed, honestly. I couldn't tell you. Hang on, we're gonna get to the bottom of this really quick. Do. What the heck? I see it working here just fine. What? It literally says everything's up to date and it's the same branch. Huh? It's the same emulator. Thank you. Thank you. The Pokemon music soothes me. That's cute. It's very nice. I think this is gonna be my life for the night. Woohoo. Make this really quick. So I want to put something in here. There we go. All right, better. What? Does Qt on Windows not use 132 for rendering? No, it kind of does. I mean, it does. Yeah, it does. Paged code. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. I see what happened here. I see what's happening here. Okay. I did a silly. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. All right. That's kind of funny. That's scheduling. I'm actually gonna have to defer this to DPC in order for this to work, because the IRQL that this is being ran at is bad. So let's see what this is actually trying to do here. Because I'm pretty sure... Oops. Yeah, so we create this handler. So the reason this gets called... And I never really actually... I haven't done this in a very good way yet. Yeah, the reason this gets called is so it can... schedule this to get started whenever an event happens. But, you know, the way I did this wasn't very good. Because UACPI does things a little different than ACPI CA, and that this is happening during an ISR. Windows doesn't like doing that very much, and neither does ReactOS. Why? Okay. I need to see this. If you notice, these two things keep happening kind of in a weird order. What the heck? Actually, hang on. Not that. Yikes. That's a little wonky. Q. Weird. No, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, actually. Let me try that. Types of work, even all in-flight interrupts installed. I don't like the way that works. Let's focus on something else for now. I'll come back to that. That's a little fucked up. That's gonna need some rewriting of stuff. That needs. I didn't know he would do something that allocates a pool over that. Moving on a little bit. What the frick? What the fuck? You know what, actually? Part of the problem is... if I go in here... Okay, that needs to be thought out a little bit better before we make this pull request. This also is kind of eh. Let's see what's going on. I wouldn't think this is failing. These devices aren't attached. I'm not... What? Is it even calling it? Yeah, it is. What the frick? Huh? What? Why is it F? You good? What? Yeah, what do I know? For all I know, it could be. Huh. Wow. Unable to attach. I see the problem now. That's weird. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that... Okay. That wasn't gonna work. Uh-huh. I was like, what the fuck is it doing? No, I just went in and re-enumerated everything again. Yeah. That was a waste of like... Oh, only 10 minutes. Never mind, I don't care now. Say running headless in Docker. So ReactOS has a server config. It just doesn't do anything useful. And it's here, actually I want to reset everything. Doesn't do anything useful. And it also kinda sucks. So, but for running in a Docker container, that has been thought about, and people have tried. Sorry, I'm responding to a very nice message. So, yeah, people have tried. I'm gonna remove the TPM out of this, actually. That's the only thing I could think that's actually causing a problem. Oh, also, I wanted to set this higher. Just for now. There we go. I have seen people try to run it in a Docker container to some success. So, who knows? I know there's somebody that wants a terminal mode. It's text only. You are. Don't worry. You're great. I don't know. I actually like TPM a lot. I think it's really important technology. That being said, not necessarily require it. But it will have a driver for it. So you can actually expose your logs. What the fuck? Why is it being weird now? Okay. It's abused for fingerprinting, so it's not. Really. Not really at all. I've heard that argument a lot, but in general, it's, I don't know, it's not super, you can fight about it for a while, I guess. And people's intentions aren't always good, though, that's for sure, or aren't always very good, though, that's for sure. There we go. Okay, now it's less jank. AC adapter. Okay, that's what I wanted. Why? Whatever. PDO. Gosh. Here's what I'm thinking. I think we're going to take this basis, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to run towards the biggest thing that I've wanted to do. I think if we sit down and we start working on it, it might be a realistic guesstimate to switch off the legacy PCI bus today. But I want to do it from scratch. I want to walk myself through this again. Yeah, okay, so when we do this, what will end up happening is we'll be able to reprogram the IRQ pin lines for PCI bus. Which will be good. Okay, so okay, that's it working. All right, so that's good. What we have there works now. And honestly, I've been using it a little bit. Yeah, I messed up for a second there, but yeah, I've been using this a little bit, and it's pretty decent. But there is one problem still remaining. You all know it. IRQ routing. IRQ 14. IRQ 15. It's all kind of wrong still. We need to get the USB controller off of this thing. Okay. We got this. So we know I want to take this. All right. That's what worried me. How do we get around this? Why does this happen? Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. We don't actually start this at all. We just return true. All right. If I'm right, yeah, I can just do that and it will just hopefully not explode, just not start anything. Yep, cool. All right, that's what we wanted. We can do this and then we can find PDO query resources. Initialize resources. If the driver exists in here, so it can call UACPI functions, and we pass it all of the possible resource list entries, that way we can find which IRQ is possible but not already used by the HAL. Then we reprogram the pins by using the standard routing method. Right? So let's split this up. We need to first move the HAL into ACPI, create an interface to detect which IRQs are already used, which we kind of have one already. Then we'd create a interface to detect which IRQs are already used, so we can query what IRQ is already reserved. That way we can see if it's already used by that thing. If it is already used, then we go and try another one. By this point, ACPI has already started, along with a bunch of other stuff. But we don't want to share the IRQ region with something that isn't... Sorry, we don't want to share IRQ with something that's related to the hard-coded devices that we so desperately care about. I guess we're listening to that now. Yeah. I can do this. Okay, so you just want me to simplify it. Yeah, they are fun. They are fun. Move bus over. Create IRQ check interface. Pass resource list properly. PCI. IRQs. That's really all we need to really do. I'm doing C# things and not ROS. Yeah. Gosh darn it. 4 years. We are officially at 4 years. All right, let's do this. Okay, so actually the plan's pretty simple. Instead of trying to have the driver here, we're gonna have the driver here. Why? Because if we have the driver here, what we can do is rewrite how some of this inherently works by programming the IRQs directly. So first, we have to remove our little hack. If we go here, the problem is, in order for this to work, we have to pass. Well, let's think about it, because if add device is here, add device creates the actual PDO for PCI itself, which makes sense. That's pretty simple. Okay, fine. Power control passes the FDO or PDO. Maybe I can't move this. Well, it depends on what this is actually trying to do. Those are the PDOs we recreate on the bus. This is the FDO that this driver represents. It doesn't really seem to be doing much, except passing it lower down the device chain. So maybe this isn't the best option. But technically, what actually is happening here shouldn't matter too much. I mean, I don't know. So the other problem with this is I guess the question is are we getting multiple instances where we need to care? So this device represents the actual PCI bus. Then we have interrupt routing. The interrupt routing is a different device, right? This is backwards, by the way. This is backwards. I don't know why I fucking did that. Okay, so if we look here, PCI interrupt link. Let me look at some other code that uses ACPI for this. No, this has to be different than what I did before. If we want the FDO actually to exist so it can transition individual power states, then it has to be isolated. Complicates things though, just a little bit. No, we have to do something different. We're gonna have to create an interface. Thanks, Stas. I appreciate it. Each IRQ line comes from the PCI config space that we're parsing. PDO query resources. By the way, this probably won't be 20, like, or 16 hours or whatever, but I am gonna work on it for like 16 hours straight. It just, for streaming part of it, depends on how long I can actually last. Query resource requirement. I feel like a very non-zero amount of this is just... kind of wrong. Interesting that a lot of it's just not implemented, too. So... I see two things that really stand out as just being kind of broken. There's discovery of eCam, I don't think even exists, and that doesn't shock me too much, but I know. Okay, child device, it's the same device. Which again isn't inherently different than the way ACPI works in that regard, but that's not really the problem here. I'm confused how this ever actually worked, is really the biggest thing. Every time I look at this, I'm like, why did this ever work? Yeah, those are real helpful debug prints. Thanks. Okay, I get this is grabbing from PCI config. Okay, so the only thing I can really think to do is isolate what is isolate what's basically legacy code and make a new ACPI path. I don't see a good way to abstract this quite yet. We might have to do that later. I think that makes sense if we do it later. Make it work better first. Because what I did before, not too happy with because it runs into a pretty big problem. Hang on. me find my old version of this. Why does this do anything different? Sorry, I'm looking through old code really quick. Weird. Oh, goodness. I need something 356. Wow. Hmm. Hmm. That is not what I wanted to do, silly. One, two, three, four. Dude, what the fuck is this? Why? Huh. That's a mess. I don't... Very goofy goobin. What? Cool. Happy birthday, thank you. Get the fuck white. So, okay. In my defense, in ReactOS's defense, it's not ReactOS I'm actually saying what the fuck at, per se. Instead, something I did. Because I'm constantly learning, and some of that learning will show me that not everything I do is that smart. In order to really do this properly, we need to set some of these ACPI devices, I think. Let me check. Yeah, so the link device has a list of possible resources. It happens to be that 5 is open, but I think on legacy PCs, if I go here, IRQ5, what is IRQ5 for? It's parallel printer sound cards. So I guess that's fine to just throw it on there. What I need to do is probe and see if everything I want to use is actually free. Because if it isn't, we reject it. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, not that complicated, but I don't know. I'm also trying to have my thing TLDR to me what I wrote down my notes. Which helps a lot. Because not everything I do is that intelligent. Also, this is the only icon in the entirety of the icon set we use I actually like. Just if you were curious. I know you weren't, but you know. Let me make sure that this actually is going to work like I need it to. Module source. Let me switch to... Okay, let me just show this. So I grabbed a bunch of code I wrote previously. I don't think this is going to work. I really don't. For multiple reasons. That's what I'm looking at. Because the way I did this, I don't think is very good. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Happy birthday. Thank you. Where are you in my progress? This isn't really about the ACPI driver now, and it's more about PCI. The ACPI driver, ACPI driver itself, I understand, and now pretty much works. What you're seeing here is using the new ACPI driver. I mean, in all reality, yeah, this is using it. So, it's there. It exists. Okay, I'm gonna have to do something stupid, I think. What? Ah, screw it. Here. Hmm. Include tables. Wow. What did I do for this? That looks like a typo. come back to that. Screwed up in 2 spots. Not sure what I was trying to do here. I think I was really tired when I was messing with this last. Oh, I don't. This is wrong. I don't know what I'm trying to do here. Wow, what the fuck happened to this? This was working okay last time I tried it. I must have grabbed an older version or something. This was a function I made to wrap 2 things, I thought. That's a function I made. Didn't bring in. Why did I do that? Oh, I see why. It's because I did this. I see. So in order to do this, I have to create an interface because before I had it in the same driver. I have to create an interface now that will convert this. Isn't that like an interconnect? I don't know. I need to. Okay, so I need to create an interface that gets shared between these two. That acts like how the ACPI one did originally. Because I think in PCI and Windows, this lookup happens locally without calling a bunch of APIs. So I think I'd rather just use UACPI for this though. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to make an interface now because I removed it out of the driver that does this lookup. I'll remake that function, I guess, not to using these interfaces, but we'll do the lookup I need. And yeah. When this happens, I don't know. Let me see. Let me see if I can find that function first before I get too far. Or I could just change it really fast. CXL is a protocol on top of PCI where you can do funny things like plug in 5 RAMs with explicit software support. Oh. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, something I want to do is Thunderbolt 4 PCI, but that requires the driver being really solid, and I am not making this driver very solid. The ACPI driver needs a full rewrite that I will do at another point. And I have some stuff started for it, but this isn't good enough for it. Be legendary. It's possible. Thunderbolt 4 and Thunderbolt 5 requires a bunch of vendor-specific quirks. But we don't really have to actually implement them. We just have to implement UCX. And when we implement UCX, we can load the driver. And I have some stuff there. But yeah, when that driver loads, it basically handles Thunderbolt 4 for you. But it exposes another PCI bus, and I don't have a device on me right now that has it, but that PCI bus is weird. So I was looking at it a little bit. The way Windows handles it is odd. But yeah, I think the PCI driver gets loaded multiple times. I don't. Okay. Pop that out. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So I see what I did here. Mm. Okay. Copy that. Need to fix stuff in config. Hmm. Why am I doing this? Two 1-3, 2-1-6, 2-3-0. I don't like what I did here. We'll come back to this. House changed here. 52 config table matching the sig size. 50 is wrong because it represents that. But this is actually a char now. 52. Differs. That's not quite right. Okay. Now we get to have the fun. Because pretty confident here. Yeah. Now, how are we gonna handle this? I get what was trying to happen here. If I grab this and I put that here, and then I just say UACPI OSCL, let's start there. Let's just do that. Grab this, grab that. Okay. But that doesn't really solve what I'm actually worried about. Oh yeah. My allocation structure is different. I moved it. My bad. I moved it here. Okay. Put this here for now. Put that there. KE loader block is an undefined, right? So include arc.h, go here, we'll find I mean, I could just do this. Since we know that technically these aren't needed. What? Huh? What the fuck? Huh. Okay. That's pretty weird. I'm just gonna here. Okay, so why did that work? Device path. That makes no sense, actually. No, that's not the... No. That's not what I was looking at. Not even close. I was looking at something else. It doesn't make sense that the unresolved external is gone for some of the UACPI functions, because I'm not building them. So I'm moderately horrified about that. And at level too high or low for this action. Go simply too optimized. That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. Like, technically, I can load this. And set this up. But I shouldn't have to do that. Very confuzzled right now. Why is that building? What am I missing? What the fuck? That shouldn't work. Okay, let me just throw this in here. Fuck it. Let's give it a shot. This is bad, but we're gonna try it anyway. So weird. Am I missing something about how this is getting... Did I accidentally link it or something against the library I made? I did! It's right there. Okay. I was like, what the fuck did I do? Okay. That makes sense. That's fine. That doesn't bother me, actually. I was just insanely confused. Okay, we can remove this now. Wow, I was really worried for a moment there. That was really weird. Just a little confused. Okay. That's cool. Okay. Now if I build this, I shouldn't have any... I should have a bunch of unresolved externals of what UACPI functions we even need. Okay. Thank good. Okay. So, not that many, just a few. We need UACPI to string namespace to absolute path, free absolute path, evaluate simple integer, find devices, find table find by signature, namespace root, and namespace for each child. Okay, so these are the functions that need to exist in order for basically this to work. So what we need to do is we need to create an interface that I'm tired. You create an interface that instead of being like normal stuff you see from... I mean, okay, pretty much we need to create this. But instead of actually being this, it's going to be some UACPI functions. That way it can share its self a little bit. I just think that's the best way to do this right now. Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay. All right. Okay, actually, we know what the plan is. We've got this PCI driver we're going to integrate. And once this hooks up, we should have a pretty good system here. However, I am getting an incredibly awful headache. Probably from talking and wearing music. For any reason, I seriously doubt it. It's not impossible, but in order for that, hold on. In order for that to happen, there has to be something better. And ACPI CA isn't really going to be updated to any meaningful degree that we can actually use that's better. So, until something's better, this is stuck. That being said, this interface won't exist forever. This driver itself won't exist forever even. This driver was me trying to rush together something that would solve the problem in the first pull request and have it slightly functional. So it's not good. It's not the right solution, but we need to put our foot up somewhere because there's so much code here and it needs to get looked at. And it needs to just solve the problem, and then we can make things abstracted later. So it does make sense to do it like this. But yeah, the interface itself won't be there for very much longer. This driver? Oh, it's 33,000 lines. Okay. I'm going to actually just stop the streaming for now. I'm going to continue working on this. But so we're very close. We basically have functional ACPI. This will make PCI functional. I'm going to hook up some stuff inside I already did some stuff in HAL, actually. I did that already. I've already been testing it a little bit, and I've seen, like, dramatic improvements already. But yeah, it'll get even better here soon. So I'm going to end it here, actually, just so I can work on this with it being... what was that? With it being a little less talkative. Yeah. Have a good night. I will keep working on this, and in a couple hours, hopefully we'll have something people can test at some point. And it might actually work, but we'll see. Might take a nap first. Yeah. Thank you all for hanging out for a little bit. See ya.